Malaya.
I think a good example,
go ahead.
a certain kind of currently right now that's happening. They're doing a petition overseas against multiplayer games, basically when support's dropped, it's dead. And one of the cases they're using, for example, is the Crew game had 12 million active players, and the company just shut it. So it's like, well, clearly there were still people in it playing it. Why are you doing that? And you see, there was actually a guy in the comment section that said, these petitions are stupid. There's no point in doing them. These servers cost money and everything for them to maintain and all that. I was like, that's fair. I was like, but if that game company put that game out and then told you in 5 years it's not going to be playable, how much of that in-game content would you have spent money on?
Yeah, that's have you seen the Penguins Zero, I think, covered this? He was all like, I think it was Ubisoft. They came out and said, we could take away a game anytime we wanted to. You guys hear about this?
No, all the developers can right now with digital gaming. That's a scary thing.
It's all like, that game that you purchased and bought from us, that ain't technically your game. We could take it away in any moment. Yep. It's all like, why would that convince anyone to buy your games?
It wouldn't. But they're clutching on the fact that people do. Look at Call of Duty, for example. I think for the past 4 entries into the franchise, it has been not really good.
But it doesn't matter because every single time people still buy in.
Yep. And as long as people keep buying it, why would they change?
Something new.
But it's not exciting, and we've learned this over 4 iterations.
Well, no.
It's the newer generation that comes along. And
there's that. Yeah, newer generations. Well, no, people do get excited with new stuff. You can't, like, changing it up.
Well,
anything.
They do.
That's what I was talking about.
But sometimes the amount of change versus the price tag is a little hard to convince.
No, and I agree with that. I was just saying, like, there's a bunch of factors why people keep buying. That's all.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, but also the factor is the hope there. The hope that the game is going to be good. Because they feed you for a year all these trailers and all this stuff about how this game is going to be fantastic.
The best, yeah.
And then once you buy it, it's literally the same game as every other one released before it with such minor differences, but for the same price.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why do we keep buying the same thing? Why don't you guys give us something more? Or if you're going to just give us skins and reworks of maps, then have us just pay for that. Like, why are we paying $70 every year for a quote-unquote new game?
That also ends up putting a huge issue because, for example, you want to play with your buddy. Oh, now he has to go buy the new console, the new game, just to play with you.
Mm-hmm. You guys can't just couch co-op that.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, there's also the factor of, like, when it comes to these franchises, you're like, they're spitting out the same game. To a point, there's at least maybe 2 franchises I can think of specifically. I wasn't big into the first games, but I enjoyed, like, the later games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, like, a personal preference, so that could be another factor, just because I don't think every game company is specifically spitting out the same exact game. There's or maybe not most, but quite a bit that keep piggybacking off of former success.
Mm-hmm.
I think
or the success of rivals.
There's that, yeah.
So, like, for instance, Fortnite was very, very popular for doing what it did, the way it did it.
Yeah.
And then every game company out there thought they needed to do it too.
Yeah, exactly. That was the huge issue. Like the Call of Duty, they had to have their own fucking battle royale. And then this other company, like all these games that weren't battle royale games, that were designed to be their specific niche, started trying to follow the formula of this other game. Became
just the most successsul.
That's not what made them successful, and they ruined their games with that.
Yep.
As opposed
to like, because they were just trying to cash in on the cash cow. But I would I hate Warzone. I hate Warzone. I hate
Is that
Warzone.
a Call of Duty?
Yeah, that's Call of Duty's battle royale mode.
But that's all Call of Duty is now.
Yep.
And even if you do play the multiplayer has sucked now because they don't focus on that. They don't care about that.
Have they continued this? Is there more than one game that does this now with the
Warzone?
All,
yes.
That's all Call of Duty.
So the first iteration was Blackout for Call of Duty. They tried it in Blackout. And then they did it with Warzone for Modern Warfare 2019. And then Modern Warfare 2 after that. And Modern Warfare 3 currently.
Well, I'll tell you, most of the time, like, if they keep doing it, I mean, I'm a very picky gamer also. I don't know if you guys are, But I've also learned, like, if they're getting a lot of money rolling in, they're just gonna stick with it. So
Exactly.
Granted, I was gonna say I get why you guys probably don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like, that
Okay,
you guys could be the outliers.
but
My
that's-
point is, I don't play a whole lot of Grand Theft Auto, but I see the appeal, and that's why they keep making the same Grand Theft Auto, right?
Well, exactly. Well, see, that's the thing, though. Okay, so
that
like
if
doing what
kinda-
you do best and honing in on it, I will always recommend that. You know, Call of Duty being what Call of Duty was for so many years, it satisfies its niche. It had its formula that it did so well that all of us players enjoyed. But it's when this game company did this, and because they made so much money for it, now you think you have to too. That's where it gets wrong. You know, like a good example.
Oh, they just changed up their formula. Is that what you're saying?
Because they're
Yeah.
trying to catch an audience that isn't theirs.
Yes.
Because they're trying to catch an audience that isn't
Well,
theirs.
everyone's doing that though, right? That's the point of the market.
Well, a lot of
Everyone's
people
like,
are
hey,
doing it, but they shouldn't. in
Okay,
that
but
aspect.
they're ruining their product.
Yes.
Because of it.
Well, to a point.
because I don't like Fortnite. I love Call of Duty.
I'm not the biggest fan.
But
of
now
Fortnite
I don't
myself.
like Call of Duty because they're putting all their resources
To
to
try
be
to
like
be
Fortnite.
No, I agree with that. I was just saying, but hold on. If it wasn't working though, how were they able to make 3 or 4 more games with this Warzone thing you're talking about?
Well,
If
okay,
it
okay.
wasn't
So
successful?
it's working, but it's not. Okay, so that
It's not
It's a
them?
lot like
It's
I was
not
saying.
authentic?
It's working, but it's not making any progression in the future.
Yes.
It's just
Well, to a
it's just
point.
riding a cash cow.
Yeah,
and that's-
it's like to me that's what we usually call, like in the music realm, a sellout. That's essentially what it is. It's like you said you wouldn't do that, and then now that you are getting paid for it, you will.
Yeah, and
Well,
you're
to a
and it's
point,
not
I
only
mean,
that.
hold
It's
on.
not.
That-
I understand going for the money. I understand going for the money.
You got. I mean,
But when you neglect what you are for that, and then you just keep doing that. You know, I understand. You might need the money right now to help fund the future big project.
Yeah.
So I could get that. But that future big project isn't there, and it's never coming.
Yeah.
maybe.
So
Well,
you're
you don't know that though. Hold on. That's a
no,
pretty
but we
good-
do know that.
Yeah, we
What?
do.
What? The big project isn't coming? How do you know?
Because they keep releasing a new game every year that sucks just as much ass as the last one. And it's all riding on that Warzone and those new skins that you have to buy.
Yep.
Sure. Okay.
Because that's what it
Like
is.
little
It's a
Yeah,
constant.
like
game
right now,
stuff.
one of the big trendy things is, well, it's kind of like the whole meta thing. It's like it's trying to do the whole bring in celebrity cameos, stuff like this. Like,
Well, hold on. Haven't
essentially,
they
you're
done that?
buying a Call of Duty game because an actor is playing.
Well, hold on. Haven't they, at least with Call of Duty, because I've at least played, I'm not a Call of Duty nerd, but I played the first 2 Black Ops. Really enjoyed those. Loved
Yep.
those Black Ops games.
Those were still in the
Those were
traditional
before.
formula.
Well,
Those
hold
were
on.
pre-Fortnite.
I agree with
Yeah.
Yes, they were. I can remember that. But the formula with the celebrities, they had celebrities in both those games, though.
No, they
You know what
did.
I mean?
No, they did. But like for instance, Fortnite made it very trendy to get things from everywhere. This game, you have a Metal Gear Solid Snake in the game at the same time as Master Chief from Halo, at the same time as
Drake from the music industry at
and
the same time as
Metallica.
Snoop Dogg, you know,
It
and
made
at the
it
same
that
time
trendy
as
hype thing,
fucking
and then Call of
Mickey
Duty's
Mouse
like,
and
we
Goofy.
should do that too.
Yeah.
And they started doing that with their skins. You could play as Nicki Minaj in Call of Duty.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like it's too busy trying to
For
focus on the wrong
Fortnite, that was
crowd.
fine.
Yeah.
For Fortnite, that's fine because that was their business model. That's what they went
That's
for.
how they started, right?
Exactly.
But
You guys don't like the evolution of Call of Duty, is what you're saying?
No, I'm okay with evolution. My problem is when what you're doing isn't an evolution. It's just you literally copying what the other guy did.
it's you
Well,
trying
hold on,
to
that could
be
go for-
what the
okay.
other thing is.
Okay, here. I used to play, I think it's called Medal of Honor.
Uh-huh.
I see how Call of Duty would have ripped that off and completely. Now, granted, took it to another level, obviously. But I could see how it's all like you guys are literally ripping off.
No, I see.
of Honor,
I
you
see
know
where
what
you're coming from. Medal
So-
of Honor and Call of Duty, that was actually a good comparison.
I really enjoyed. I prefer
enjoyed both.
Call of Duty, but
But I have
again,
enjoyed both.
Yeah, me too, exactly. So I think I'm chiming it with that. I don't want to say. It kind of seems like you guys are coming at from the point of it's unoriginal, maybe, right?
Okay, well,
Or you're
at
taking
least
too
for
much
me-
from other franchises.
for me, my approach on it is more of just like it's discussing the fact of like all the developers, the big dog developers, AAA studios or whatever,
Mhm.
they are too worried. You're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Why are you worried about pennies?
I wouldn't say pennies though.
But it is. In the grand scheme of thing, they will spit out what we make in our lifetime just doing it.
Like it's nothing. I get that. And look, by the way, I don't fully disagree. I just think that I think we need to take a step back, and I just want to try and find a middleman, because I know you both are really pretty passionate about it. Like,
No, I feel you.
and I know for a fact you both have played more Call of Duty and for sure Fortnite. I wasn't a Fortnite guy, but for sure Fortnite. Would you guys say that their first Call of Duty game that ever came out, they just kind of rode that wave?
No, I never
Would you
played
say?
that.
Oh, okay.
I never
Did
played.
you play that one?
Actually, most of the
original
Call of
Duty?
Duties on PS2 I didn't play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely rode the wave of what
Yeah.
was successful for them,
Okay.
and they took their own approach in it.
Yeah.
But once, okay, so let's go. Okay, so we're gonna go back to when Fortnite came out.
Okay.
Fortnite released that battle royale mode, which everybody had been
Isn't-
begging for, and the only thing that had gotten close to a battle royale style game was Battlefield, and the way they handled their huge
conquest
multiplayer combat.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. They did a good job. But Fortnite did it in the way that everybody had wanted, which was you go until you die, and then that's it. And then whoever's the last man standing wins.
Can't you do that setting? Couldn't
But-
you do that with Call of Duty though? Like
But,
the death
but no, but
matches?
that's what we're
You know what I
saying
mean?
though.
You remember? Hold on. Since I haven't played
those-
Fortnite, explain that. What's with the scenario you guys are talking about specifically with Fortnite? I thought my interpretation of it, you had so many players pop into a map, and it was kind of like the last man standing.
Yes,
you got to
that's
kill
Yeah,
everyone,
okay,
right?
so let's.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it just like a quick run through. So imagine you got 100 people that drop into a map. You're all
Okay.
playing on the same map. You all see the same shit.
Sure.
And throughout the time of the match, you have a ring that closes in on the map.
Okay, smaller and smaller.
If you're
So it's kind of
outside
like Hunger
that ring,
Games.
it's going to kill you. So it makes it to where even though everybody's on the map, no one can just sit in one spot the whole time. They have to keep moving because of the ring itself.
Yeah, it's enclosing.
Yeah,
Is it kind
and
of like Hunger
pushes them
Games?
towards each
Yes.
other. Yep.
You start with
Yeah.
that thing, and you only
It's
have
actually
to
like
pick one.
identical to Hunger
that's-
Games method. Yep.
It's a Hunger Games. Cool. Okay, that's kind of cool. Oh, so you're telling me they're
But
riding
once-
the Hunger
but
Games
once-
wave? Is
Yeah,
that-
essentially.
It was,
Yeah.
it was a huge shift in the whole way almost every game developer fucking started doing their things when it came to first-person combat.
Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as Fortnite became big, everybody was like, uh-oh, I want some of that cash cow.
Uh-huh.
And so they basically tried to do the same formula, but in their own way. And
And it's just not their. It's not their skill set.
yeah, I didn't like Call of Duty because it was Fortnite. I liked Call of Duty for what Call of Duty offered.
Okay.
It's the same way with Battlefield. There were things about Battlefield I liked about Battlefield that Call of Duty didn't have. But I didn't like some of the things that Battlefield did. Same way with Call of Duty. Like, I liked the majority of what it was as its individual game that it did right. But there are other things that this one did that I enjoyed more about that one. That's why I switched between the two.
I think, if anything, I think we're just in a moment of time where there's such a huge blow up in this one game. Everyone's gonna be kind of copying it. Is that what you guys are basically doing? The
so
copy,
it's not just
copy and
games.
paste, right?
It's not just.
I'm
games,
aware of
though.
that. Oh, yeah. I think-
movies do it too.
Yeah,
We've been
exactly.
seeing it a lot.
You
with-
get these tropes.
Yeah. Like we're gonna do a sequel to a movie. Well, for me, the most recent one was that Twisters movie, and I was just like, I seen the old Twister movie.
Uh huh.
There's no part of that movie that made me think it needed a sequel.
No.
There's just no part. I mean, sure you could. Tornadoes happen all the time, but
But why do you got to make it a sequel to that?
Well,
Why
yeah.
couldn't you just make a new tornado movie?
Well,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think. Hold on. Did you watch it?
no.
What I gather, they basically did. And again, I haven't watched it. I wound
seen
up.
it either. I don't know.
I wound up checking out the reviews because V watched it, loved it. I watched bits and parts of the original. I just didn't have no interest, so I had no interest in this one.
I think Beetlejuice they have a
It
second one
is.
coming out.
They have
now,
another
right?
one coming
Yeah.
out. But I think the point of the Twisters one is it actually wound up being successful because, for one, it detached from the original, which you don't get sometimes a whole lot of. It kind of wanted to do its standalone thing, which sometimes sequels can actually help with sequels sometimes.
Well, see, that's great, but
Um,
you see, they made the problem when for instance, they had to have it in a compared state.
What do
you
you
know?
Well, it's the same
Why did they name it
universe.
Twisters?
It's the same universe.
exactly.
Because, I mean, there's ties to it. This isn't like they probably, I don't know the background. Maybe it's the same writers or something along those lines, but there's obviously ties to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's plenty of sequels that they're probably better off being made years later on, because instead of being all like, oh wow, our movie was a hit, so now let's make a second one, then let's make 7 more, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Whereas this kind of took its time and it waited. I'm trying to think of a sequel that took years to make, but it wound up being just as good.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie
and the Chocolate Factory.
I don't know if that was just.
I don't
think
it.
anything was ever as good as the OG
The
Willy
original,
Wonka.
yeah, like the sequel. I mean, it was well known because people were pretty excited. I mean, you're right; it took years to make. There's a big.
It's rare to see a sequel that outperforms the first. I'll
Very
say
rare.
it is
yeah,
rare.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh heck, what I was getting into was I think we're in a point in time where games like Fortnite was so successful, everyone kind of copies that. Mm-hmm. I guess is that what you guys were kind of getting at, the copy and paste and into games that you don't think it should fit in, right?
Well, yeah.
Because I was gonna say we
want our developers. Okay, so like, it's kind of like a. To me, anyways, I would consider myself a pretty avid gamer. Those developers, I do care about them.
Okay.
Like, I care about those developers because they've given me these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have given me some of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life.
I do to a point. If you say, "Hey, I'll take it away at any moment that I choose," then I'm
that's
all
not
like,
okay. It's not okay. Well,
That's where
which
you
is
start
also
to lose your respect.
that's where, as the gamers, to a degree, you have to have some input on these developers.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling them, hey, if you do some shady things, I'm not gonna buy your shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
Well, that's where sales come in, right? That kind of
exactly.
proves everything. Yeah.
Well, it's like I was saying about the whole Petition thing over the multiplayer games being left essentially in an unplayable state. So people have paid money, especially with the current business model of gaming now, paid money over time in that game for it to just get shut off.
Oh, was this like a rent sort of thing with like an apartment? How you'd rent an apartment for a while,
Well,
so you never actually technically own it.
I was gonna say
That,
it's
I
kind of
think's
like that,
different.
except they don't tell you that.
Well, hold on.
So
no,
imagine
if
you
you're
got a house on the idea that you're going to be able to live there for as long as you need, and then a month later your realtor's like, all right, out.
No, I think it's a little bit different, because if you're all like, hey, how much money do I have left, compared to, hey, you have a perpetual payment.
Then sell it on
of
a
this-
subscription basis.
Exactly.
Isn't it that though? If
No,
you're
that's
continuously
where
paying-
some things are. But there's a lot of games that aren't like that.
Right
anymore.
now they do
I
a live
automatically
service
assume.
model.
Hold on. If I automatically assume, hey, you have to pay this every month to play this game, I automatically think it's a subscription.
Well, yeah, well, if you have to pay every month to play the game, then that is a subscription.
That's
yes.
what
Yeah.
you were saying,
But-
though, right?
but-
These players had to continuously pay.
No,
No,
we're
what are
talking
you
about
saying?
like let's
their
take a
live
Call of Duty.
service model. So their live
It's-
service model for games essentially is to get you to buy content in that game
Within so like
post-launch.
skins and stuff
yes,
like that. Oh,
to
okay,
keep
my
your
bad.
money funneling into that game.
Gotcha. I thought it was like basically what he said, a subscription thing. Like they had to
Yeah,
keep
no, not like
paying.
that. See, if it was like
My
that,
bad. Okay.
they wouldn't even have the argument for the server thing either. Because
Okay,
you're
I'm caught
paying
up
for
now.
those servers essentially.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Okay, that's different. My bad. I thought it was like a subscription thing. Oh, my
But
point.
it's all about the misleading part. It's
Yes.
these developers. It's not that they're just doing it that's the problem. They're doing it, getting away with it, and being shady about
If
it.
you're gonna fuck me, just let me know that I'm being fucked.
Exactly.
Because I don't
Sure.
mind. I'll let you fuck me. But don't try to fuck me without me knowing.
Yeah,
don't drug me.
Yeah.
Just
no
tell
roofie.
tell me what we're doing and let's play that game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I don't mind. I'll pay you what you feel like you're worth. But you don't want to tell me what you feel like you're worth because you don't want to play with negotiation. You would rather just take my money and then later on down the line fuck me over.
Yeah. when
It's
you
kind of
got
like in Fortnite, I have put quite a bit of money into that game for skins and stuff like that I really enjoy. I really enjoy it. And to me, it's almost like I'm collecting inside that game.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, if Fortnite told me tonight or whatever that, next month we're going to shut it off, all done.
Yeah.
Yep, you get no refund on any. You get no refunds on any of your purchases. Next month, we're calling it good. Game over. Everything.
Yeah.
All that money you've ever given us, you don't get.
Yeah.
And I
You
would
know,
feel
like,
torn because I'm like, that sucks. It's like,
Because
Well,
I
yeah,
didn't
that-
get a
well, it
physical
doesn't,
product.
yeah.
Like if you were buying toys from a toy manufacturer and the toy manufacturer said, we're not going to be making any toys anymore, well, damn, I don't get to buy any more toys from you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I still have what I
The
bought
toys
from
that
you.
you bought.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what the petition is for, is that basically they're trying to make it to where these developers have to leave games in a playable, accessible state.
I like that. That's interesting.
Well, especially if
my
you're
point-
going to
Because they're
accept,
designing it.
if you're going to accept money from microtransactions, then yes.
Exactly. Because
But if
it
you're gonna
seems like
sell
right
the
now
whole
they're
thing
doing
at
everything they
face
can to get their part, but fuck you. in
Well,
the
it's
end.
kind of like the you know those people they'll go to a vending machine with a rope around a quarter and then put the quarter get their money and then pull the quarter out.
Yeah, essentially, that's the way it kind of
So
feels.
they keep
We
their
feel
money
like
and
we're
their
being
pro-
robbed. Like they're pulling it out, and then like I
mean-
said, they just say, "Oh well."
Yeah.
A good example.
It was a bad
Emulators.
analogy, but you know what I meant. Like
Emulators in the gaming community is a very tough thing because technically it's illegal,
Okay.
and then technically it's not. It's a very weird loophole, and a lot of it is because game developers for a long time, they've been hiding behind their copyright laws. So, you can't play that or in that way without buying our console and playing it on our console because that's copyright, And that was fine and dandy up until console evolution became so normal. So now it's like, so you mean to tell me I have to go try to find a PS2 somewhere? Hopefully that works. That probably isn't going to be serviceable through the company anymore.
Yeah.
Just to play that game when I could just put it on my computer and play it. And that's kind of one of those things, like people build those emulators on that whole principle, game preservation. The shit you buy, you should be able to play it whenever you want.
Yeah. To tie back to, I don't mean to loop all the way back around, but back to the everyone was y'all's point. Basically, everyone was kind of emulating like a Fortnite formula.
Yeah.
Would you say? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say we're probably in a point in time where something blew up because I'm sure whenever, let's say, what was a hit? Like, was Mario? That was a hit, right? I'm sure
Platformers. It's called a platformer. This is a genre of it.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm sure so many games ripped off that style.
They
after
did.
that. So we're probably just in these moments of time where it's all like, this sucks. So I don't know how much longer.
But see, that was the weird thing with Call of Duty, because Call of Duty was already its own thing.
It was. I agree. But again, it probably still had
Okay.
It already ripped off a formula. Oh, maybe not ripped off, but I already had a comparison formula, right? It probably had its hits, right? And I know I couldn't tell you how many Call of Duty games there are.
Well, in
But
competition
I can
in your
guarantee you
zone,
they wanted to change it up though, which is a good thing. Now, maybe copying and pasting the Fortnite formula probably wasn't the best idea, but at the same time,
Then do something else. Don't ruin Call of Duty.
well,
Don't ruin what you made Call of Duty as Call of Duty. Make Call of
Make Duty of
Fruity.
Call.
Here, what's the problem with playing the games you like of Call of Duty? Why do you have to play the new ones?
Well, because of, like he said, as things progress, they stop supporting the things back then. So, like, if I wanted to go play Modern Warfare 2, you go into Modern Warfare 2, and it's just nothing but people aimbotting.
Wait, people what?
Hackers.
Oh, no, I'm talking about, like... Oh, so you guys are strictly talking online?
Well,
I'm
not
talking
necessarily.
we're not
What I
strictly
like-
talking online,
you can go back
unfortunately
and
the
play
way
them.
of the world
Yes,
is
that's my
going
point.
is that's the common trend.
I was
is
just
that
going to
games
say...
are online.
And I get that, but, like, my thing was... I guess I'm probably lucky in this aspect because I don't really play online. I was obsessed with the Call of Duty Black Ops, like I said earlier. I can go back and play zombies whenever I wanted to if I had that console, of course, and the story mode. Because the story modes were like, man, they're great story modes.
Yeah,
No,
they're
that's
really
good. And
Both
I'm
those.
right there with you. You can
And,
still do
like,
that, yeah.
I think people dwell too hard, and I ain't trying to like jump at you guys, but like, if you
Okay,
guys
wait.
don't like
let me put it this way.
Okay, go ahead.
You can still do that, but ironically, only with games like that.
Wait, what? Could
The
you go
ones
ahead?
before the online trend.
Okay.
The ones before online gaming has become such a norm. Now that online gaming is such a norm, one of the things
you don't have to make a full game before you sell it because you can give them early access.
Sure,
You don't
okay.
have to put a disc out in stores. You don't have to mass produce something to be able to put it out there.
Yeah.
So what you see is a lot of gaming developers, from the big titles to the tiniest titles, they they sell you this idea of a game, but it never ever comes to fruition.
Okay, that sounds different than like copy and paste in formats of different video games. So.
But that's what happens a lot.
Oh, the advertising is, I agree, completely different. Like the new Star Wars Outlaws game, it was advertised as this phenomenal game, but then they put out gameplay, and the gameplay
And it was ass.
is like, have you seen it?
I haven't, but I could
graphics
assume.
were just to everyone. No one likes this game, but it was pitched as this updated, futuristic, phenomenal game.
That's because
That's just
the
advertisement.
developers,
though. I don't
what they
get-
did was they just wanted to cash out on the Star Wars name.
Oh,
Just like Call of
Absolutely,
Duty wanting to
yes.
cash out on that Battle Royale trend.
yeah. Well,
Instead
to,
of doing something that was just genuinely good,
no, to a
you
point, that's
just
different.
tried to do something that was already
You tried to do
good.
something that you thought would be good, rather than
Yeah.
doing what you are good at.
Well, hold on. I think
Yeah.
it's good to try though. That's how we get.
It is, but
that's how we
don't mess
get
up
iconic
what you
moments.
have for it.
Well,
I
hold
think
on.
a good example is like
Take a moment to hear from our sponsors, Taco Flavored
All right,
Gum.
Go.